We all want the most out of our lives, but few of us are willing to do and accept the risk that it takes to get there. Society has made us prone to choose the path of least resistance, the seemingly maximum result for the least amount of effort. But the funny thing is, that will never get you where you want to be or what you are capable of. You see, it's not about the goal itself, where you might end up, or where you want to be. It's about who you may become in the process. At least that's what I'm chasing. I will probably never be satisfied until I reach my full potential, which may be never, but the chase, the hunt, striving for what I may be capable of, is what allows me to take on risk and not look back. Good morning, everybody. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Tyler. I am an entrepreneur. I run some coffee shops and I also do real estate investment. So thank you for tuning in. So the last few vlogs, I've been changing up my style and being more choppy and kind of faster paced. What I really realize is that's just not who I am, and that's not really how I operate in general. I tend to try to take things a little bit slower, a little bit more natural. So I think this is kind of the speed that I'm going to be doing my vlogs going forward. I kind of thought about I go to different channels to feel a certain way. There's certain channels that I go to feel inspired or learn about business or just kind of sit down and relax. There's some vlog channels that I do watch, and nothing against them, but they kind of give me a little bit of anxiety because of how they are filmed and scripted, and it's just very fast paced, boom, boom, boom. But I realized that I actually like the vlogs that are a little bit more calm and collective. And I think that's what I would hope my viewers feel when they come to my channel. So that's kind of the goal going forward, is to just slow things down. Now, I don't usually show the work that I do in the cafe, and that's mainly because I actually don't work as a barista in the cafe 99% of the time. So there's just not a lot of opportunity. And also too, I have a chronic leg pain, so I actually can't be on my feet that long. So I don't work behind the bar anymore because I just physically can't. And also too, long term, I don't really want to be known as a cafe vlog. So if I film too much content around the idea of the coffee shop, I don't want that to be my brand. And even though I think that's cool and maybe compelling content for viewers, coffee is personally not really my passion. So I don't want to be forced to film and constantly build things around a cafe vlog environment. Doing something like the cafe, we've never actually operated a business like that before, like a food business. It was a completely new step and career for us, and we really just learned along the way. But that initial first leap into going into a new industry, something that was completely foreign and new to us, maybe people will call it kind of dumb, but we just saw it as a good opportunity. And so as an opportunity to learn, as an opportunity to grow. And I think you grow muscles that you didn't even know you had when you start working out using things that you didn't even know were there. And I feel like that's exactly the same as entrepreneurship. First, you have to kind of just nail down the fact that you're going to do something, and then kind of just figure out the rest as you go. Now, you should have a plan, but at the same time, you can't always predict just what you don't know you don't know. That has been the theme of our business as a whole, is jumping into deep water and learning how to swim. But what I've realized in this world is the thing that gets kind of reciprocated the most is calculated risk. And the people that sit on the sidelines and are too scared to take that first step, it's seldom that they find long-term success. So just take that first step. morning. So things I've been working on, we are actually, instead of making like seasonal menus, we have been trying to structure our drink rollout to more where it's just like limited items. And it actually makes it a lot easier for us to manage because rather than coming up with like bulk items at one time every season, we can just keep a lot of things in the pipeline and then just release them slowly. So that's kind of been the new game plan. That's actually what we used to do before. Another big change that we're trying to make is we usually use a certain type of matcha powder that comes from Korea, but it's already sweetened. So when we try to make like flavored matcha drinks, which is really popular these days, it's either too sweet or it's not matcha flavor enough because we have to dial it back to compensate for the sweetness. So we've been playing with like actually just using unsweetened matcha, which for us, it was always a decision of efficiency, but I think we've become bottlenecked with what we can make because of that. So this last week, I've just been playing with recipes, trying to figure it out. And for us, that's always kind of a risk because we've been using the same method for the last 5, almost 6 years. And for us to change it on our customers, which I would say we're pretty well known for a lot of our matcha drinks, it's kind of a leap of faith that we don't know how it's going to play out and we don't know how it's going to work with the employees. So trying to find a method that works to make sure that consistency is the same and our cost can be managed. So that's kind of what I've been working on. Yeah, I mean, besides that first step of actually starting the business or starting that thing, the next thing is you will always find that there are little calculated risks that you have to take along the way. And it really doesn't matter what you do, no matter how knowledgeable or how experienced you are, there's a certain bit of risk of the unknown that you just don't know until you get there. If we look at a project to flip a house, we can run all the numbers and projections and kind of have a good idea on what our acquisition costs will be, what our construction costs will be. But actually, when it comes to selling the product, when it's all done, it is at the mercy of the market. And so we have good projections, we have good ideas, which helps mitigate that risk, but there still is risk involved. There's no investment or decision, I would even say, that doesn't involve some sort of risk. So I think I've learned that regardless of what happens, we can't really calculate everything to expect everything that we just don't know. So you just have to figure out ways to keep your demeanor, keep calm, and figure out things as you go. And I think that is the long-term key to finding success in almost anything. So other than that, today, I'm actually going to meet one of my best friends who's an insurance agent. Every so often we go around and just visit new businesses because he's trying to get new commercial clients, but also it's just good to talk to someone who's also in an industry where they have to kind of grow their own business and fend for themselves. Yeah, so we're going to go visit this coffee shop in Redondo Beach. Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday. I'm at the coffee shop and this is my office. So it's nothing fancy. It's just a storage room that we actually turned into a little office. It's probably no bigger than 8 by 10, maybe. One thing that I was thinking about that I realized is as much as you plan and you think that things are going to go a certain way and you hope, it almost never goes the way that you want it to. And I think that's probably no different than how life in general plays out. We have all these plans and aspirations and things that we want to do and things we want to accomplish. And for the most part, maybe like we can hit the major milestones, but in between of how we get there, it is almost never as easy or a straight path as we imagine it to be. And I think if you have that flexibility to understand that you just gotta push through and you gotta figure out any problem that comes your way, if you're able to kind of assess it and find that every single problem has a solution, then I think you have a real good chance at being successful at whatever you do in life. With that said, there is nothing that you do that doesn't incur a little bit of risk. whether it's having a family, having a kid, getting married, starting a business. Biggest thing that I try to live by is the fact that I make life decisions and I deal with the consequences that come with them, regardless of what they are and whether they're good or bad. Every time in my life, in one way or another, it's come out okay and I'm okay. So, I think that's a life lesson that I've continued to learn, is that there's no point in putting energy and stress into just jump into it and take the risk on the things that I feel in my gut are the right thing to do. And you just live with the consequences, good or bad.